I don't have the luxury of being overly emotional in my role because if I was, it would be used against me because I'm a woman and women can't like do that. You can't do that. But men do that.
Melissa Ben-Ishay, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Melissa is a mother. She is a baker. She's the founder of Baked by Melissa, which are those cute little cupcakes that everyone has probably seen everywhere. They're like mini and always come in the most fun, like tie-dye, funky colors. And most recently, you are like a TikTok celebrity too. She is the founder and creator of the Green Goddess salad that like spread like wildfire on TikTok. Guess what? Like 2 years ago now. And we're just so excited to hear from your experiences and hear a little bit more about what got you started. Do you have anything to add to the bio? Is there anything that I missed?
Overworked mother of two. No, I don't know. We're good. We're good.
Can
Wearing
you
many
tell us?
hats, as we all are.
It seems so. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with Baked by Melissa? And then I also want to get into how it's been like just blowing up on TikTok.
Sure. So, Baked by Melissa, we founded in 2008. I graduated from college in 2006, didn't know what I wanted to do, got a job as a sales assistant at a media company. It was like, ugh, not fun. So I got another job 7 months later at an advertising agency. The culture at the company was really cool, but the job itself was still blah. I was an assistant media planner. And I wound up getting fired about 16 months after I started because I wasn't good at my job or passionate about the work I was doing, which is really why I was fired. Um, I went right to my brother's office from being fired. He said, "Don't worry, it's the best thing that ever happened to you. Go home and bake your cupcakes," which sounds like crazy and I'm oversimplifying for sure. I did that. And I love to bake, never thought it could turn into what it has. But I knew that I had to give it everything I had, and that's how I work today. I never want to look back and think that I missed out on an opportunity, so I do everything I can to achieve my goals. I've gotten much smarter and more efficient in how I do that in the past 15 years since we founded the company. Um, but yeah, I mean, oversimplified version is I went home and I baked my cupcakes and sent them into work with my best friend's little sister who was interning at a PR agency. And the owner of the PR agency loved the cupcakes, put me in touch with her caterer. I started doing events with him as Melissa of Baked by Melissa 2 weeks after being fired. So much work went into that. And it wasn't easy and it's never has been. But this story does make it sound that way.
No, I mean, now you have like 14 retail locations. You guys ship nationwide. Like this took off. When was the point where you realized like, oh, this is becoming bigger than I thought it would be?
So at the very beginning, I was just like I couldn't believe how much people loved the product. Um, and I think I've earned my confidence through my experience over the past 15 years. Today, I'm a different person than I was when I was 24 years old, sitting at the bar at Cafe Barry the day we opened our first store, thinking, who the hell is going to stop at this hole in the wall and buy cupcakes they've never heard of? No, they're the best product. We have the best product. It's made entirely by hand with the most delicious ingredients that make you feel like a kid again. And it's the perfect ratio of flavors and it's just a bite. And we offer this like incredible experience through our product at Baked by Melissa. We haven't scratched the surface with what is possible, I believe. And there were times in those first few years where I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like the fact that we could have a store that said Baked by Melissa on the side. But now I understand our potential and I truly believe it's just the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to them being delicious. I've had friends send me your cupcakes before, and they're amazing. And in high school, it was like if you had baked my Melissa cupcakes at school, like people would go crazy. They they caught on because they are just the perfect little bite size and Also, I think you were doing something so fun with, like, the fun colors. People, I feel like, at that time were only really doing, like, vanilla, chocolate, and it was just so you were almost like a Gen Zer before it even was a Gen Zer thing, with all the colors and the retro vibe of it all. I'm a huge fan of the product. I would love to hear too. So you start Baked by Melissa, you have Baked by Melissa. Where did your kids come in throughout all of this?
Great question. Um, my brother was our CEO for the first 8 years we were in business, which brought us to September 2016. That was a interesting time of great change, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I mean, my family is more important to me than anything in the world, and that's when my husband and I decided to have a baby. And anyway, also, you never know when a baby is gonna come, but we were ready,
Yeah.
and, I wound up hiring a new CEO September 2016, having my first child January 31st, 2016, and then having my second June 2018, 2 years and 5
Oh,
months later,
wow.
and becoming CEO in December 2019.
Oh, wow. So that was a quick progression of events. Was life just wild for you at that point?
It's great. I listen to my heart. I I trust the process, and I'm okay with I love change, actually. I think it's important, and if you're comfortable with change and you understand the potential of change and what it can do for you as an individual, if you go into it with a certain attitude, I think it can be great. And I started this conversation by saying I'm an overworked mother of 2, so clearly, like, balance doesn't exist for me, but I love it. I love it.
I love that. I also love that mindset because I would say most people are pretty averse to change.
Yes,
So,
you have to go through it and trust the process and just, like, have faith a few times to love it and be okay being
yeah.
uncomfortable, and now I'm an addict. I love it.
You're addicted to change.
Yeah, like when it's right, you know? I don't seek change for no reason, but I can feel when it's coming.
How do you feel when it's coming?
Intuition. I
Hey, did you
really have learned to trust my intuition.
that's a beautiful skill to acquire that I think a lot of us probably are still missing and might not acquire honestly in our lifetime. I think people think it's intuition when sometimes it's other people's opinions, sometimes it's what you think
You want
society wants you, what you think you want maybe even. Yeah.
you know how
So,
you I think I've honed it by understanding that I have no control, and the only thing I can control is the way I respond to the things that happen to me. That was a turning point in my life and my career, that I am responsible for me, and I'm
mm,
not going to control anybody else or anything else but me. And you spend much less time talking. And
yeah,
I think you just like learn a lot.
I love that. Would you say that that is maybe one of the best piece of advice that you've
Yes.
ever gotten?
Yeah. Yes. I read it in a book. I read a book. I was going through a tough time. I didn't have the answers. Nobody did. And nobody could have understood my perspective other than me. Although my husband was pretty close because we both are a part of this company. And I read a book and it was called The Games People Play. It's about relationships and emotional intelligence. And for me, it just clicked. Like halfway through, I never finished the book. I got it. And that was the lesson I learned from the book.
Was that all you can control is your response to a situation?
Yes, paired with we're all different. we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and maybe I wasn't giving myself enough credit for my level of emotional intelligence and understanding of things. And rather than allowing that strength to frustrate me more or make it more difficult, I chose to use it as such, I guess. I
How
realized, like, I guess I don't give myself enough credit. I didn't know that it was a strength. And then I realized it was. I was like, "Oh, well, not everybody is like me." Like, when other things are happening, it's not like their intention, you know? And maybe we're all I mean, oh my god, don't even get me started. Like, we're all different people. We all have different perspectives. Like, my perception is only that. You know, there's a whole other side and perception to things that are happening. And I think seeking to understand when possible is really important as it relates to like things that are happening in the world right now. But as it relates to me as an individual, I I trust my understanding of the things that are happening to me and the way that they make me feel. And then I use that to control my response.
Yeah. Where do you think that initial doubt came from of not recognizing it as a strength, but maybe rather even a weakness?
Society.
As,
I grew up with
as
I grew up with like great like family, like two parents who like told me I could do anything I set my mind to. My big brother, who I found a Baked by Melissa with, who literally without hesitation told me that being fired was the best thing that ever happened to me because he's the best big brother in the world. And, always really encouraged me and my own creativity. Um, but I think women are different than men. And I think women, for whatever reason, we don't have that natural confidence. I like men are overly confident and women aren't confident enough. But when women learn their confidence, holy moly, we are because our approach is so different because we're so used to seeking to understand. Like, tell me more about that. Like, I want to understand. You're leading people to where you are, which gets their, it's so powerful. It's so different than the opposite approach. And it makes us really great. I think women are great.
I would agree. I think women are incredible, and I love that you came to realize that this emotional intelligence that some men and some of society might be like, "Oh, women are really sensitive and
Yeah, they
they have
tell
a
us
lot
that
of
we're not.
feelings." Yeah.
They tell us that we're not. I mean, I say this, I love men and I love my husband and I love my dad and I love so many men. I work with so many men and I
Yes.
have so
There are
many
so
incredible
many amazing
relationships.
ones.
I would have never thought I would be a girl. I have two girls. I always thought I would have boys
Oh.
because I'm such a guy's girl. Like I so many of my close relationships are with men who I respect and love so much, to be
Yeah.
clear. And I'm very candid with them too in the way that I feel about things. And as I've, like, gone through my career, I've experienced and encountered more men acting emotionally or in a way that, like, women are, like, perceived
Uh,
to be or, like,
yeah.
stereotyped to be. But in my experience, I encounter that more with men than with women,
That's so
truly.
interesting. Yes.
And I would never, like, put somebody down or, like, I don't have the luxury of being overly emotional in my role because if I was, it would be used against me because I'm a woman and women can't like do that. You can't do that. But men do that.
Yeah, and when they do, no one says a thing about it.
Exactly. And if I am direct, which I am, and honest, which I am, I have to make sure I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. But it's business. It's not school. I have a job to get done and I pay you money and I need to be able to provide clear and direct feedback. So it's
Yeah.
just interesting to me. And I've learned I was also like, I was really looked at under a microscope for a period of time in my career. And it was an incredible opportunity for me to become self-aware and work on myself, even though at the time it was just really challenging. So I'm always trying to be better. And like, I'm not saying I'm disrespectful to people and it's okay, because that's not okay. But sometimes you just have to have a direct conversation. And if you think I'm a bitch for it, so be it.
That's gonna be the quote we highlight from this. I love it.
But it's true. Like, only women are bitchy in the office. Men aren't.
Have you ever
Men are
heard a man
direct.
called that? No.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Yeah, he would just be a
But
strong
yeah.
leader.
And to be clear, like, I have the best team ever, and I'm not just saying this as like I don't encounter that today at Baked by Melissa, and I haven't in a long time, and I don't even want to give up the impression that I did at any point, but maybe, you know. But
But I
I've
bet a lot of
ha-
people have.
yes, and I've had other jobs, and I interact with men in different roles, obviously all the time in different organizations, and it's just surprising. It shouldn't be, but it is, because it's just like, wow, it's 2024, man. Like,
Yeah,
my
so
daughters are watching movies that, like, every single one of them is focused on female empowerment. Truly, we saw
yeah.
Anne Juliet on Broadway, and I was like, yes. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, that's all my 8-year-old knows is stories of female empowerment. But I grew up watching Cinderella.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
times have changed, but, you know, I'm curious to see how, anyway, whatever. I believe
It's
in
still
women,
gonna take
clearly.
yeah. I think the moral of the story is I think things have gotten better, but we're not there yet, and I think it would be naive of us to believe that we were. But it's good. It's a
Agreed.
challenge. It's a challenge like
But
you say you like.
I love it. It's silent killer. We're silent killers. I use it to my
This is
advantage
true.
all the time, which is hard to explain, but I don't care if somebody doesn't understand my intelligence, capability, experience. I like that because they will. You know, like, if we're working together, like, great. Like, you'll it's fine. I don't know. I guess it also motivates me a lot. It makes me work harder because it's so fun.
As a fellow I would call myself probably a pretty type A person. Sometimes when people underestimate me, that's like my best motivator. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
exactly.
I dare you to think that I can't do this or that I don't have the capabilities. And then, like you said, you kind of just do it silently and watch them be proven wrong with time. If you are listening to this podcast, you are probably a fan of inspirational quotes. And if that's the case, then you should check out my book. I feel that it's a cute little retro book with each chapter being a different emotion and then quotes that can help you with that emotion. So if you're looking to support me or the show, if you need a cute little gift for a friend or just something to flip through when you're feeling down one day, then this book is for you. You can purchase it at quotesbychristy.com, which is my website, or the link will be in the show notes. I am wondering if you have ever received a worst piece of advice.
Any bad advice that I have received would definitely be around somebody telling me I am not capable of doing something, or that I shouldn't go after something that I feel passionate about, because you always should. Like, always. If you want to achieve something, or if you have this goal, then you should work towards achieving it. You shouldn't expect something to happen overnight, because it won't. And even though my story of how we founded Baked by Melissa makes it sound like it didn't. And
Yeah.
I didn't recognize it the way my story makes it sound in the moment. Um, it takes consistency and hard work and quality of work.
I'm sure there have been a lot of people in your life that have helped you along as you've created this company, even as you've tried to balance work and motherhood. And would you say, too, that that's such an integral part of achieving anything great? I feel like some people think that they can do it alone, and it really takes a team of people like being there for you and supporting you.
Yeah, of course. I think understanding the quality versus quantity thing is very
Yeah.
important, and knowing how you feel when you're around other people. You should only spend time around people that make you feel good. And sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes maybe like at work, let's say, if you don't feel good around those people, you should probably start looking for another job because that's what I seek. Like I'm a heart person. I think some people like think with their brain, some people think with their heart. I'm a heart person. So I'm very aware of how things are making me feel, usually before I understand it. And I really just surround myself with people who make me feel good. I don't have like a huge network of friends at all. And I don't really have time to be social the way I once did in my life. But I have a few wonderful friends and family that I have in my life that I have really close relationships with, and they help me tremendously.
Yeah. On the flip side of that too, I'd say so it takes a village, but sometimes, like you're saying, you go through seasons of your life where you might not feel like you have that village. And clearly you've also really had like strong internal motivation. How do you get that? What advice would you give to other people to stay motivated and stay consistent about a dream that they have when maybe they don't feel like they have a ton of support, or even maybe they feel the opposite. Maybe they feel like people don't believe in them really.
Go to the gym, go to the gym, work out, sweat every morning. First thing before you do anything else, wake up and sweat till you drip.
Hey, my husband and I always say you're only one workout away from a better mood.
It's wild. It's Prozac. It's
Yeah.
better than Prozac. I've never taken Prozac, but it is a drug, a happy drug,
Yeah.
motivating, mind cleansing, incredible drug that not only makes your body stronger, but it makes your mind smarter, sharper, and also stronger. Like without question.
I think what I always love about working out, and especially I understand why people do it in the morning. Usually that's not me. I'm an afternoon workout person. That will probably change once I have a child. But I feel like it shows you, especially right in the morning, that you can do a hard thing and that you can get through a hard thing. And I feel like you start with that one hard thing, and then the other hard things in your day seem a little bit more manageable.
Yes. And when you're at my stage, like you just alluded to, like, I mean, I don't have a minute for myself until I go to sleep. So I've carved out this hour and a half that didn't exist before because I was asleep.
Yeah.
And it's the only time that I can do it that won't take away precious time with my children that I'll never get back. Like, they're young,
Yeah.
and this is the time of my life, according to everybody who's gone through it, that I will miss most when they're grown up. Even
Yeah,
though it's
absolutely.
hard as fucking hell, but it's amazing too. It really is. It's both. I highly recommend it.
I'm looking forward to joining the club. I'm expecting my first in June.
Ah,
So,
yeah, do you know if you're having a boy or a girl?
a little girl. I'm going to be a girl
What?
mom too.
Oh
I
my
know.
god, there's a
That's what everyone says. And honestly, I
and
I
they're
mean, I
so
couldn't be more
mean.
excited.
They're no, they're the best, but they're like, holy moly. It is a
They
peek
put you in your place.
inside. It is I can't even like I understand my mom so much more. I feel like I should tell her this. I don't tell her this enough or ever. Like
Tell her now.
we
Tell
even
her on this podcast.
Mom, I love you. I was so mean and I'm getting it back just like you told me I would. And I like my 8-year-old and 5-year-old think they know everything and they can learn nothing from me. And I know I was the same and I still am to my mom. So
I
I
do
I
feel like
accept it.
it really humbles you. Even pregnancy, I'm like, I understand why my mom was so crazy about things. Like, she grew me bone for bone. She grew me, and I am hers, and
You ain't
that's
seen
gonna make it.
nothing yet.
That
I thought pregnancy
I
was
can
like
only
such a
assume.
thing. And then I had one and I was like, oh my God, pregnancy was a walk in the park. But it's all great. It's
Uh,
the best.
well, I'm
Your
looking
life is
forward to
going to
it.
change. In June, you will have a whole new life. It's life before and life after. There is no in between. It is crazy and it is incredible. Like, I don't know what I did before I was a mom. This is my whole existence. It does also that birthing a human that made me know with certainty that women are even better than men. We could do anything they could do and more because we can have
Oh,
babies. It gave me such like confidence. I can't like I did that. Like my body did that. Like what? It's
yeah,
just
no.
incredible.
I can only imagine. I mean, even every time I see an ultrasound and I'm like, "Wait, those are bones and a head
Yeah,
that I grew from my body." Like, it just none of it seems real. It seems miraculous at every point. And I
it
am
is.
positive that the
Well,
most miraculous part isn't even here yet.
that is correct.
Do you have a best piece of advice for a new mom? And maybe it's about motherhood or also just juggling work and motherhood.
Oh my God, I have so much advice. And I mean, I'm so lucky to have a couple of close friends, three that I spend the first hour of every day with that have kids.
Oh,
And we're all like, and from spending that time with them, like when you're in it, when like you feel like it's the end of the world, certain things, like little things, like you worry so much about everything right now. Like I worry that I'm not giving them enough of my attention or like they're little, like everything is okay. Everything is going to be okay. You're always going to feel like you're not enough, even if you don't work full time. You're always gonna be worried about your kids, worried about the job that you're doing. You're doing a great job. Childbearing and parenting is primitive, right? Like, think of everybody who does it, and in all different walks of life, there are certain things that make it harder today. There are certain things that make it easier today. Everybody's gonna be okay. You're doing your best.
I love that. I love that. Okay, last thing to finish this off because I love hearing this from people and I want to know yours, but do you have a favorite quote? And maybe it's a quote that you've been living by recently, or maybe it's one you've loved forever, but we love quotes here. So let's hear it.
I love quotes too. "This
Oh,
is your
good.
world. Shape it or someone else will."
I love that.
It's hanging on my fridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love scrapbooks. I used to do it, I don't do it anymore, but, like, when we founded the company, I had this scrapbook that I got at, I wanna say, like, the MoMA store on Spring Street at, like, like, at one of those, or maybe I got it at, like, Paper Source, I don't know, but it's just this white book that has that quote, "This is your world, shape it or someone else will," and I needed to hear that then, and I still need to hear it. And then there's also, like, another one that is hanging in my office that says, "There are people much less qualified than you achieving the things that you are scared to go after." Like, so go after it, girlfriend. And that's not the exact quote, but that's the
I've
vibe.
heard
And,
that one
like,
before, though, and I love it.
you can do it. And I'm the CEO of Big by Melissa, a content creator, an influencer, a mom. Like, I need to hear that. So everybody needs to know that.
I love that. Two absolute bangers. Thank you for sharing
Thanks.
those with us, and thank you for joining us on the show. This was such a fun chat, and I love you. I mean, I love seeing your personality on TikTok. I loved it in person.
Thanks.
These were wonderful words of advice, and can you let us know where we can go to support you, to support your products, or maybe
Yes.
support your influencer career now?
Go to bakedbymelissa.com and send cupcakes as your next birthday gift, anniversary present, thinking of you, thank you, you name it. It is truly the way to make the people that you love happy, one bite at a time.
Like, it's like you had that in your pocket. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Melissa, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to be able to talk to you. And to everyone listening and watching, don't forget to subscribe to The Shift. Let us know what you think of this episode, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.